Amrabat week is here. Listen, Manchester United have tabled an initial offer for SOFYAN Amrabat to Fiorentina. As we speak now, the two clubs are going on with talks and negotiations to try and sign a player who has been out of the club since the start of this season, choosing to train alone as he waits on his beloved Manchester United. Listen, but what we know is that the bid is quite ridiculous. I'll tell you how much this is and whether our chances are high that we will convince Fiorentina to release SOFYAN Amrabat. Listen, this is SOFYAN Amrabat week. I told you this at the start of the week that it should be happening, and here we go. Let's get all the details now. Listen, Manchester United has been finally able to collect and gather itself and collect itself, pick itself up and proceed to go to Italy to Fiorentina to place an initial bid. This time we expected that Manchester United would have wished to buy the player, but as it is, United I think have failed to raise the funds to buy, so they have gone with another plan to get SOFYAN Amrabat on loan. This was the same thing United did in January, but Fiorentina said they were selling. It seems to be we are back to square one in the same situation. United goes with about 1.9 million pounds, close to 2 million pounds. Try to convince Fiorentina. Fiorentina are probably laughing at it. They are saying, we do want to sell. This is what we are gathering. This was first reported by David Olsten, but has been confirmed by Sky Sports and all your major sources you would think of. My sources too within the club have confirmed it. But it seems the situation seems to be quite difficult. But guess what? United have a backup plan, and I'll tell you about it at the tail end of this video. Now listen, as it is now, the situation is that Manchester United are going on to talk to Fiorentina. Remember, United already agreed personal terms with SOFYAN Amrabat. That is why he has been consistent and patient, taking the word of Erik ten Hag and John Mata, saying who told him they would come for him after agreeing personal terms for him. They have been looking for funds since June. SOFYAN Amrabat has been waiting for Manchester United to come for him. Now the time has come now, but Fiorentina do want to sell the player. He's valued at about 30 million pounds at most. Fiorentina want cash to sell the player, but Manchester United are saying they have no funds. What this shows me is that Manchester United probably have looked within all their sources, because what we know, we expected Donny van de Beek to leave for some cash, but as it looks, he seems to be headed out on loan, probably somewhere in France. Now, we know that Scott McTominay as well is dividing the hierarchy in Bayern, because apparently the coach Tuchel is interested in him, yet certain members of the management team or the leading team, the technical team, are saying, they are divided on him and whether he fits into what they are building. So he is there and thereabout, but also him is probably a backup. He's part of the backup plan to loan him out. They are not going to sell him, to loan him out and try and get Gravenberch. So the situation with the few days left to the end of the transfer window has forced Manchester United to move, and they are saying they are going back now with a bid to try and get Amrabat out on loan. But we are waiting to see the details of how Fiorentina is responding to this. What we hear is that they seem to be insistent that they do want cash. Remember, Liverpool had inquired about Amrabat. Liverpool obviously need a player to come in and play in that Amrabat position. They had inquired about him. That's why they are still inquiring about Gravenberch. I saw some reports suggesting that Gravenberch would prefer to play for Liverpool over Manchester United. I don't know. That's up to him. But Liverpool are also in the hunt for a solid central defensive midfielder. So it's a tight situation United is in. If this bid is not convincing to Fiorentina, they might call Liverpool and try to listen to them if Liverpool are still interested. Whereas Fabrizio reported sometime that Liverpool pulled out of their interest for Amrabat. You can't be sure, so they could resurrect their interest, and that would mean if they do have money, which I believe they do, they could go and bid for the player. But because of the financial fair play policy, somehow Manchester United have failed to deal with it, and again, there should be someone to take the blame for this. But I think at this point, we only blame the Glazers for everything, to be honest, because they are the helm of the club. But financial fair play is affecting Manchester United hugely. We cannot sign players. We cannot sign players unless we sell, and we are failing to sell. Guys, the lack of ability to sell any player at Manchester United, for me, is showing me one thing. It is showing me how Manchester United has been grooming poor players for the longest time, and I'm sort of trying to give credit to the past managers, but these are such poor players, because in this day and time, When Saudi Arabia, Qatar are spending money left, right and center, the oil money is there to spend, to just, I would say, as if waste, for lack of a better word, because some of the bids, the offers they make for these players are ridiculous. Now, they bid for players who are out of their prime. Manchester United has got a lot of young players, probably a quartet of players in their prime, who have been pretending, earning big wages for Manchester United, but they have not attracted even a single flutter of an offer from a Saudi club. For me, up to now, that defeats logic for me. Harry Maguire, players like Scott McTominay, players like Tony van de Beek, no single Saudi club has come out to try and just say, okay, we want to sign this player. For me, it shows you how poor these players are, and that's why United is stuck with them, because if we cannot attract this Arab money, if we cannot do that, it shows you that our players are not, because they just look at the biggest clubs in the world to try and find any little players they don't want. They come for them, but no one is coming for our players yet to want to sell them. At least flatter them with an offer, but there's nothing like that. That shows you how poor most of these players have been or are, and that is why we are stuck with them. So what has that caused us? We are now going back desperately, begging Fiorentina with a ridiculous £2 million offer for a player who is wanted by some of the biggest clubs in the world, a semi-finalist in the World Cup, a top player, SOFYAN Amrabat. We are going to bid for him with £2 million to a club that has been waiting patiently. They gave the player his request to stay out of the club and waits for a bid. They expected a sensible bid. This is what we come up with, guys. This is how bad the Glazers have sunk this club that we love. This is how bad it is, that Manchester United, on a player that we need so much, we cannot find the funds to bid for the player. We are just going with ridiculous £2 million. And by the way, reports say that the payment plan was in half, I think, split with £1 million. I mean, it doesn't make sense, guys. Why is the financial fair play policy affecting us? Why do the FFP rules affect us? They're not affecting other clubs. There should be a problem. There is something we are not doing right, guys. It's not right. I do hope things change and United finally manage to pull through with these talks. But as it is, guys, that's where we are. Fiorentina are yet to give an official response. It's believed they rejected it, but this has not been made official. But regardless, guys, £2 million for Amrabat when we are spending close to £70 million for Mason Mount. It doesn't make sense for me. This is how bad this ship is sinking, guys. Manchester United truly is not doing right. But there is already a lot of news going on. But for me, this one has been specifically about SOFYAN Amrabat, guys. Amrabat's bid is in. Remember, the UEFA Champions draw is this week as well. And we are hoping we will be getting good updates concerning this story. But well, that's where we are. Hotspot, subscribe. My name is Web, guys. I'll catch you later.